everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 6, Episode 29, DJI Air 3 release date official. How is everyone doing this evening? Let's see who is in the house. Let's see, boy, we got a lot lined up here tonight. Jaybird's here, Akarasho, John Olson, JSK Enterprise, Sergeant Rock. Let's see what else we got. Drone Views Media. Richard's here. Casey Crime Fighter, welcome, my friend. Let's see who else we got. Captain Ray is here. Thomas Baker, 107 Drones, Fly Guy Merrill, Silver Surfer. Wow, we got a full house. Drone Views Media. JAA is here. Alvin Park, Neil Rise Outdoor, Zach Key, Henry Mills. Wow, boy, we got a lot. Hope everyone's doing well this evening. Let's see a nice show of hands for that, okay? Just drop me some notes down there in the comments section, okay? We got a lot to talk about tonight. Ron's probably going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Mark's going to join us here in a little bit. And we're going to start off first. Of course, you got your weekly update on Bill. Where would you be without your weekly update on Bill? Okay. Physical therapy starts this Friday at 3 p.m. And what we're hoping to do is, you see this finger right here, it's bent, and we're hoping that they can get this bad boy straightened out. So there's almost no pain right now. I wear this brace most of the time. I take it off to get a shower. I take it off in the morning. Take it off a couple times in the day. You wash up, that kind of thing. So hopefully, we'll get this lined up here, and hopefully I'll get some answers on Friday. I'm really hoping that we can get going on this so I can get my dexterity back. You can see I can move it, all right? And from what my understanding is, I have a good friend that's a former OR nurse, and she was telling me as long as the tendons aren't damaged, they could probably straighten this out. So, and I would think I wouldn't be able to do this if my tendons were damaged. So, I mean, that's just me. That's my limited medical expertise right there. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. Going to put in a shameless plug. All right. Of course, you all know, and we're going to get to it here in a minute about the release date and time. We're going to have a very special release program, and that is going to be next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. It's already out there. Already got it saved. Okay. Trying to line up some people to be on here, some very important guests. Of course, we'll have a great time. And the reason I'm not doing this, and just to kind of let you know, we're gonna talk more later about the whole thing about the Air 3. But I want to let you guys know that what we're gonna do is I'm delaying it by 3 hours because the official release time is 9 a.m. Eastern, and I'm delaying it to noon. First of all, I'm working that day. Second of all, that's my lunch hour, so I can take my lunch break as I see fit, and that's what I'm going to be doing. The other thing is, it'll give everybody a chance to digest everything and to absorb all the information. Maybe watch a couple of the videos that are out there, say like Billy Kyle or maybe Dobo or somebody puts out there of the Air 3. That way, it gives us a feel and a flavor for what we can expect, and we can talk a little bit more knowledgeably about that. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna start promoting it probably this weekend. Just so be on the lookout for that. That's going to be next Tuesday. And of course, we're still going to have Rotor Talk next week. Okay, that's not going away or going anywhere. So I just want to make you guys aware of all that. So Michael Wright is in the house. Welcome, Michael. Art's in the house. Welcome. Good to see you as well. I'm glad you guys have all stopped by tonight. This is good. Like I said, we're gonna have a great time here, and I do have quite a bit to talk about before we get to the star of the show. So yeah, there is a star of the show tonight. So yeah, yeah. So but yeah, getting back into things here. All right, now one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was Fimi is having a sale, and they're having a sale. I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to share my screen. Okay, now this is on the Fimi X8 SE 2022. It's not the V2, it's the 2022. And look at the price on this, $285. Okay, where is this? This is on Banggood. All right, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop this in the chat in case you guys are interested. Go ahead and click on that link in the chat. This isn't an affiliate link. I'm not even worried about that. But if you guys are interested, I want to provide this link for you to be able to get that. Now, it is a good drone. All right. It doesn't have, it's not, it probably has a camera. And I like what Marcus has said about this. It probably has a camera equivalent to that of the original Mavic Pro. So just to let you guys know, this is out there. If you guys are interested, $285 is a pretty good price for this kind of a drone. It's a little bit, I would say it would handle things like the wind better than like a mini drone, maybe even the Mini 3. But of course, you're making the trade-off for the camera. But just want to let you guys know that. But it's out there. It's available, $285. It's on Banggood. It's a known product. This isn't something that Fimi is asking you to help crowdsource, that kind of thing. It's already been out there. People have had it. I would recommend it if you're very budget conscious to get a drone and would like a good quality drone. This would fit the bill. And again, the TX10 won't work with this. The TX10A won't work with this. You got to use the regular controller. But for $285, that's a pretty doggone good deal. So, feel free to take advantage of that. I just wanted to get that out there so you guys knew about that. I agree, Jay Bird, and Captain Ray. I agree, but I want to make people aware of this and have an opportunity if they can't afford, a little bit more. If they can afford $285, they can be able to get one. So that's where we're at with that. All right, what do we got next here? Okay. All right, DJI loses remote ID on a drone, and this is I don't want to call it scary, but it is scary in a way. And let's go ahead and I want to share this article with you guys because I think it's important to go over this. Now, this is the first time this has happened. In the first, FAA rescinds DJI's drone remote ID compliance status. Last year, DJI became the first drone manufacturer in the world to submit and earn U.S. federal FAA approval for remote ID protocol compliance. Okay, according to the FAA, it's rescinded the declaration of compliance for the DJI Mavic Pro Platinum drone with immediate effect. But why did the agency take this drastic action? Here's the whole rather curious story. The FAA set a set of rules. January 19, 2023, FAA evaluated and accepted a DOC application with the assigned tracking number appearing to be from DJI for the Mavic Pro Platinum. But a month later, DJI wrote the FAA explaining the group of products listed in the DOC application with the assigned tracking number were, in fact, not compliant with the performance requirements of the remote ID rule. As such, the company itself requested the FAA for rescission of the already accepted DOC. DJI's subsequent internal review of the incident determined the employee listed as the contact on the application was not even handling remote ID certification responsibilities when DOC was submitted. Not just that, DJI employee in question claimed he did not submit the application for the Mavic Pro Platinum in the first place. The FAA is continuing to investigate the matter, but in the meantime, the remote ID status for the drone stands rescinded. Okay. Now, it's not clear if DJI plans to release firmware updates making the Mavic Pro Platinum compliant with the FAA's remote ID rules. As of now, its list of so-called legacy products, the drone maker is only confirmed to be working Mavic Air 2, Mavic 2 Zoom, and Mavic 2 Pro. In the meantime, you can see the complete and updated list of DJI drones. Okay. And again, these articles, as always, are out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group, so you're welcome to look at that. I don't know about you guys. Okay. That's good. That's good to hear, Richard. Thank you for posting that. I appreciate that. So the TX10A does work with that. That's good news. In the TX10 as well. Okay. Very good. Wow. What's to say? I mean, anytime you have humans involved, errors are about to happen, and this is clearly an error on DJI's part, and I'm probably sure that person's no longer employed with DJI. I would hope that that person is no longer employed with DJI. So, yeah, that's that's kind of funny. Not ha ha funny, but funny nonetheless. And I think at this point with things like this, I thought the list was pretty solid. I thought that was kind of a curious entry though, because it skipped some of the other drones, like the original Mavic Air came out, and just some of the other ones that it skipped, and it hit the Mavic Pro Platinum, and I kind of thought that was rather curious to that. But remember, there are remote ID modules that you can be able to purchase that can be fitted with that. There are some reviews out there, so feel free to avail yourself of those. And if that's something that you want to get for a DJI legacy drone, like a Phantom 4 Pro, or like the Mavic Pro, original Mavic Pro, Mavic Pro Platinum, original Mavic Air, the Spark, those kind of things, feel free to avail yourself of those, okay? Because there's manufacturers out there that are making those remote IDs add-ons for your drones and software for that. So feel free to go ahead and look for that. So that's where that is. But I thought it was rather curious that it's rescinded, and once you read why it was rescinded, it's because it was an error on DJI's part. They had a person out there who wasn't authorized to do that. So, and that person's probably no longer employed with DJI. So there we are. All right. Mr. Brown, how are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. How are you tonight?
Doing well. Good to see you.
I'm here for the double up party.
We're going to double up here in just a minute. I don't know if you knew this, but Fimi had the original Fimi X8 SE 2022, not the V2, on sale at Banggood for $285. Did you see that?
That was the Drone Nation deal of the day last night.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe that's the lowest price it's gone for yet.
And Richard posted that the TX10, TX10A will work with that. So,
yes.
So that's good news. In
fact, Richard already purchased the new Fimi X8 2022 at that price.
That's a great price, $285. That's very good. And, you're getting a good product. And as Marcus says, and I know, the camera quality is probably equivalent to the original DJI Mavic Pro, which is good. I mean, and what you're getting with something like that. And one of the things that I said a little bit earlier was, it is a little bit of a beefier drone than, say, a Mini 3 or a Mini 3 Pro. So it's probably going to tolerate the wind a little bit better. But
yeah,
of course,
that number, whatever they use, that number they use to measure that, I think that's an 8.
Yeah.
Where your typical mini drone's like a 5.
Yeah. So, but know what you're getting, because, there are trade-offs. It doesn't have obstacle avoidance on that. And, the camera's not as good with that.
Not this model, Bill, but that Fimi X8 Pro, which was announced in the spring, will have the obstacle avoidance.
Yeah. And
whenever we finally see that drone.
I'm anxious to see how that will end up panning out. Oh, yeah. So yeah. And we just talked about DJI rescinding the remote ID for the original Mavic Pro because someone at DJI made a mistake. It was just that simple.
Now that did seem strange. Of all the Mavic, the Mavic Pro line, the original series of Mavics, the only one of that bunch that was compatible was that one particular model. That always kind of struck us as sort of, not right or whatever.
Yeah, and it's exactly what I said, because okay, that means they were passing over the Spark, they were passing over the Mavic Air series, and they went to the Mavic Pro Platinum, and that was an odd choice. I mean, passing over the Phantom 4 Pro, it just seemed like an odd choice, and the explanation makes a lot of sense regarding that. So
unless you own the Mavic Pro Platinum, then you're not too happy today.
Yeah.
Or maybe you are happy because maybe you didn't want remote ID on your drone. Depends on what side of the fence you're on that argument.
That's true. That's true. Now, DJI just did a firmware update for its smartphone gimbals, Osmo Mobile 6 and Osmo Mobile SE. The update is important because it brings all new ActiveTrack 6.0 subject tracking technology to phone stabilizers. DJI recently announced ActiveTrack 6 with the launch of platinum gray color option for the OM6. According to the tech giant, ActiveTrack 6 is packed with dramatically improved autofocus feature. As a result, gimbals using this technology can detect and follow a subject pretty reliably, even when they are obstructed in multi-person scenes or performing faster dramatic movements, such as those when playing a sport. Okay. DJI has also aligned the gimbal subject tracking feature with the zoom function, meaning you can track your subject seamlessly while using the zoom function for richer visual effects and impressive cinematic touch. So that's a good
that's
update.
what we call keeping up with the Joneses. Insta360 released a gimbal within the last month with much improved tracking over the DJI drone, over the DJI Osmo 6. So I guess this kind of gets them back in the ball game again with
that kind of fits in line with what we're doing with that, and I kind of think there was a reason that for the timing of this. With Insta360, I think that wasn't coincidental. I think they had been working on that, so that's good to see that, and I'm glad that they did that.
Because they probably developed it for the OM7, but they probably wanted to get it out to compete with Insta360. But Bill, my question to you is, according to the leaks on the Mavic Air 3, I know we're going to get in that soon, but the Mavic Air 3 supposedly only has the ActiveTrack 5.0. Why wouldn't they have ported the ActiveTrack 6 right over to this new drone since it's available in the gimbal?
Well, that's a good segue into the topic here, Ron. That was one of my questions out there, and and those out there who are watching, if you have some thoughts, please drop them in the chat. And one of my first questions, and I wanted to pose this to you and Marcus if he joins us, is okay. With the set of controllers, they're going to be a standard controller is going to be issued. The DJI RC is going to be issued with this. But my question is this: will the DJI RC Pro be compatible with the DJI Air 3?
Yeah, that is the $1 million question, Bill. I mean, I say the $1 million question probably is a very small percentage of DJI flyers that actually own the Pro. Most people fly with either the DJI RC or the N1 or whatever. Yeah. But so it is probably a small use case. But I mean, I know a lot of DJI RC Pro owners are going to be very, very disappointed this drone comes out and it doesn't support that Pro controller, Bill.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I know, it's like when you get that DJI RC Pro, it is light years ahead of the original smart controller, and just the functionality on that, just the interface on that, everything, the range, everything is just stellar about that.
It's the best controller DJI's ever made for a consumer drone,
without question. I mean, I think the nit count is probably higher on that because I've had zero problems with that, and it's super bright. This time of year, taking that outside, that's not an issue. I can see what that.
And you live in the Sunshine State.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, of course, let's get to the double up here because I want to cover this. And as a segue, and I talked about this earlier, we're going to be doing a special show on the 25th at noon, 12 Eastern. And of course, Ron's invited, Marcus is invited. I invited Johnny as well. He's invited because that'll give us time to digest things because it gets released at 9 o'clock. We'll be able to maybe watch a couple of videos, look through all the specs, and be able to talk about it a little bit more intelligently without sitting there and scrolling through things. And those of us that are trying to buy it, we're trying to buy it as well. We'll get all that done and get that out of the way so you can give us a chance to be able to share some thoughts with you guys as we look through this. And I think that's an important thing.
Bill,
So,
can I pop out a comment in the chat here? Our friend 107 Drones Barkley, he's a comment up there. He said if the Air 3 doesn't work with the RC Pro, he won't buy it. And Bill, I think that's not just one of Barkley's attitude. I think a lot of owners of that controller had the same thoughts, Bill.
yeah, and that was one of the things that was on my mind today. Is we got the announcement for the Double Up event. Is that going to be compatible with the RC Pro? And now tied into this in conjunction with this, the rumors are very strong. It's going to have 04 OcuSync 4 with this, and that would mean that the RC Pro would need to have a firmware update in order to be compatible with this. So, it's just there's a lot of moving parts and pieces here. But I think my big thing is probably, before next Tuesday, you're going to see obviously updates to the Fly app. But if you see an update to the RC Pro, that's going to be a big signal that it's good, that it's for the Air.
Yeah, if you see an update, that's good news. Yeah.
That would be very good news. Through email and social media, DJI has announced the upcoming product event called Double Up, the highly anticipated event scheduled to take place next week on Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern. That's wrong. It's not. Isn't it 9?
Yeah, the official thing from DJI himself says 9. So
it says it right here.
Yeah.
At 9 a.m. right there. Over the past 3 weeks, we all know this information that's down here. Now, one of the things that I wanted to go over is DJI Air 3, everything we know so far. This was a great article out on Drone DJ. Dual camera gimbal, the most significant change in the airline is the addition of a second camera system. Similar to the Mavic 3, this additional camera featured a zoom lens. Early photos hinted at this possibility. It was confirmed when marking photos were leaked by WinFuture. The complete specifications were soon revealed. And for those interested, here's what we know so far. Dual 1/1.3-inch cameras capable of shooting up to 4K 100 slow motion, 4K 60 HDR, and 2.7K vertical. Bottom camera, 24 millimeter equivalent, f1.7, 2.4 pixel size. Top camera, 70 millimeter equivalent, f2.8, 2.4 pixel size, 48 megapixel stills. Okay. And then battery size means increasing flight time. The Air 3 will feature a 4241 milliamp hour battery, much larger than the Air 2S. It suggests an increased flight time as well. Mini 3 and Mavic 3 were both announced with flight times of over 40 minutes, the best on the market. Can we expect the Air 3 to match that? According to leak specs by Jasper Ellens and Igor, yes, the Air 3 could have a 46-minute flight time. New RC2 and RCN2 controllers is we see here, and we've talked about that before. The potential improvements are likely to be internal, possibly including support for OcuSync 4 transmission system, which would enhance connection strength and bit rate compared to previous drones. The Air 3 has quickly transformed from a mysterious blurry image to a full-fledged product. Okay, that's a lot there, Ron.
And Bill, how accurate do you think these leaks will be when we see the official specs next Tuesday?
I'm going to say they're probably going to be very close to what we have seen here. Okay, with this, and I think these leaks have been very accurate in terms of the specifications. I mean, we've gotten pretty much everything except a look at the box. What's exactly what
we saw the front of the box, but we didn't see the side of the box.
We didn't see the side of the box. There's Mr. Marcus Crawford. How are you, sir?
Gentlemen, not too bad. Not too bad. Just finished dinner.
Okay. Well,
actually, he just got done test flying the Air 3, but
I wish. I'll tell you what. If I did, I'd tell you all about that 10 meters per second ascent and descent speed.
Yes.
Well,
yes. Marcus needs to get down the canyon as fast as he possibly can.
That's
well,
hey, Bill, when you scroll by that one photo, I have it's probably a little sore spot for you when they showed the Flymore kit. It looks like this comes with one of those expensive bags again, a la the original Mavic 3. See that kind of fancy? It looks a little fancier than the generic bag you usually get. That That may be $100 bag there, Bill.
Yeah, I think that is an upgraded bag that they put here, which is nice. And as I've said before, for me, I always prefer a hard case. But if you're just going from A to B and you're local, say 5-10 miles, this is perfect. Okay, if you don't want to spend the extra money to get a case,
and especially if you're going out to dinner someplace and you may have an opportunity to like film or something there, you don't want to be carrying a big old hard case into the restaurant, whatever. You carry a case like this, and it just looks like you have a camera bag or something.
Yeah.
The only guy that I know that flies at the restaurant is our friend Joe Blaylock. Ron, remember that?
And actually, that outside, that food truck there, actually, and does a great job flying those trains.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
That's one. And Ron, I want to, when we were at Reddington Beach, not that far away from there is St. Pete Beach. Yes. And there is a spot called Spinner's Restaurant, and it's that revolving restaurant. Right. And I've seen plenty of drones flying around the outside of that over there. So I'd always been tempted every time we've gone over there to take my drone to fly.
And not going with a hard case. It looks like you're carrying. There's a hard case. A lot of people think you have pistols in there because a lot of people keep their pistols in that type of case.
Yeah, this is a very it's not obvious what's in that case.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, can I segue back to drones just for a second? I think one thing we got to call out here that this is a first, as far as I know, for DJI consumer drones. According to the leaks, that case, that charging thing you have up there, the 3 charger thing, will charge all 3 batteries at the same time, rather than just the one at a time that we're used to with our our DJI chargers. That's quite the innovation there. I mean, I know you could always buy a third-party charger that would do that, but now you don't have to do that.
Ron, it does more than that, though, right? What it'll also do is if you're away from any kind of power anywhere and you've got 2 partially full batteries, you can put them all in there together and you can rebalance it. You can use those partially full ones to charge the one that's near full and get yourself a full battery.
That's a great point, Marcus.
I mean, so this is actually kind of this is their first smart charger, we'll call it.
Well, the smartest smart charger. They've called them smart chargers before, but this is the smartest one we've seen, right?
Yeah. Now we've seen like the Evo 2 Pro would charge all the batteries at the same time. I mean, you had the option of a couple different charging options, but one of them was to charge all at the same time. But so DJI is kind of stepping up their charging game this time around, and kudos. That's a real nice feature. As Marcus and I talked, Bill, already, it's already a lot of people down this show because they're the one in sensor. But I think, they kind of went across the board and kind of maybe improved and tweaked a lot of little things and made this kind of a complete package, all across the board. Maybe similar, Marcus, to what they did with the Action 3 camera. I mean, maybe it doesn't have a standout, maybe camera like the Hero 11 did, whatever, but it kind of like across the board, it kind of, made everything better.
Yeah, they've added some features. For instance, listen, guys, we know people complain about DJI not having waypoints.
Oh boy.
Well, this guy's going to have waypoints, both video and hyperlapse, right out of the box, ready to go.
Yeah. And Kim, I'm going to stop you right there. I don't want to ruin your train of thought, but Bill, Marcus and I had a conversation about this today. Is this the first DJI drone out of the box, day one, supposedly, that'll have waypoints, consumer drone?
Yeah, it would be, because it took a while for the Mavic 2 to get it.
Yeah.
And for the Phantom 4, I mean, you had to have Litchi before. I would, in my memory,
So there's a lot of firsts here. First charges, could do more than one battery. I mean, could do all the batteries at once. Waypoints out of the box. And Marcus also pointed out today that it'll only be the second drone after the Mavic 3 series to have night mode.
Well, and these are fantastic points. And I think you guys really touched on a great subject here, is that DJI probably, maybe they held a focus group. I don't know. And this is just I'm just swinging with a wild guess here. But, this focus group told them things, we'd like, say, a concurrent charger. We'd like to be able to charge all the batteries at the same time. Okay. Another one maybe might have said, we'd really like to be able to fly this at night, for example. Okay. And get some great night quality shots. One of the other ones, obviously, vertical shooting. Vertical shooting is something, whether or not you're into TikTok or YouTube Shorts, vertical shooting is here, and it's part of the social media agenda, and it's something that's part of this platform. Also probably too, let's beef up that controller that comes with it in terms of its range and its capabilities. The battery life. Let's extend that battery out. Let's make sure we're going to get a great time flying this drone out there. Yeah, you guys really hit on a good point here. I think they really took this to heart, and they answered a lot of consumer questions out there that people have. Now, one of the big complaints that I've seen, okay, and I think you guys may have gotten emails on this too, it doesn't have that 1-inch sensor, and I'm seeing that all over the place. And I'm like, okay, everybody is shooting this down because it doesn't have that sensor. And I'm like, you know what? Here's what I do. Okay, let's look at the finished product. Everybody's, well, no, it can't. Because it doesn't have that sensor. And I'm like, and I'm not making fun of you guys that are out there for this. This is just me. Okay, I'm not going to shoot something down unless I take a look at it, see it, verify it, and I'll say, well, you know what? You're right. It probably should have had that. Or I would say, take a look at this finished product, okay? And wait till you watch some of the videos, say like from Billy Kyle, because Billy's going to go to the nth degree with something like this. And I'm picking Billy out just for example because he's so meticulous and he nails this stuff down, okay? He's going to put out some quality content that people are going to want to see, and people are going to be real interested how that sensor works on this drone. And I think DJI's going to have nailed it with this drone, guys. I really do.
A couple other features, Bill, that are worth mentioning. You mentioned vertical video. It will do hyperlapse in vertical mode. For people that are doing that kind of Instagram stuff, that's a big deal, right? Being able to do hyperlapse. It'll do master shots in vertical mode. It will also do tilt shift. Ron and I talked about this earlier. I don't know that I would use tilt shift very much, but I know it's popular with a lot of folks. So this is kind of a do-it-all drone, really.
And there's another first, tilt shift out of the box for a DJI drone, or maybe any drone.
Yeah, so, I mentioned this to Ron earlier because of the speed of the drone as well, the ascent and descent speed, and because of some of those other things that it can do.
And which Marcus mentions is faster than the Mavic 3.
Right. That's where I was going with it, Ron. It may be more, this drone potentially could be more important to me than the Mavic 3 Pro. I mean, obviously, just like you very eloquently said, Bill, we don't know yet. We haven't seen it. But just looking at the features.
It's wise not to judge the camera quality until you actually see the footage.
There you go.
Right. Go ahead.
Bill, like you said, when has DJI ever gone backwards in quality of video? Yeah. They're not going to. It's going to look really good, I guarantee.
Well, I mean, unless it's a step-down drone, like, say, the Mini 2 SE or whatever.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Well, one of the other things too that probably the number two piece of feedback that I'm getting and I'm seeing on there, and people are saying, well, you know what? Knowing DJI's track record, an Air 3S won't be that far away, so you guys would probably be wise to go ahead and wait for that. And I'm like, all right, well, you know what? All right, my answer to that is, this is a given, okay? Because it's hit the FCC database. It's already been announced. We know it's going to be released next Tuesday, okay? And Air 3S is not a given. We have no clue. We haven't heard a thing about that. An Air 3 is a given, all right? And if you're in need of a drone, okay, I'm going to say this. I think this is going to be as significant a drone as the Mavic 3 is because of its capabilities and everything that we see down on paper and everything we've heard regarding the specs.
So Bill, probably maybe even the bigger thing is price point, because it'll get it in more people's hands.
That's an excellent point, Marcus. Thank you for bringing that up. having this price point, and we're hearing what, $1,400, $1,500 with the with the controller, that's a pretty doggone good price point. All right, for all you're getting with that Flymore kit, that is really, I think an outstanding deal for what you're getting, the value that you're getting with this drone. There's a lot to this, and I think it's going to do well. I really do.
Hey, Bill, I want to answer Mark White in the chat here. He's saying that they effectively went backwards. They did when they went from the Mavic 3 to the Mavic 3 Classic, but Classic, they were trying, that was a value proposition, much the same as the Mini 2 SE. They're filling slots in there. In other words, they didn't introduce the Mavic 3 Classic as the successor to the Mavic 3. It was simply another more affordable model, if you will. So,
and even that realm, Marcus, the camera quality is just as good on the Classic as it is the Micro
Four Thirds camera, and this Air 3 is a successor to the Air 2S.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And hey, Bill, 107 Drones Barkley asked in the chat, has the price been announced? And to the quick answer is DJI has not yet announced the price, but the rumor mill has put up the price. What did you say? The combos like in the upper 1500s is the rumor.
Yeah, Maddie just put 1529 for.
Yeah, I've seen higher than that. I've seen in the like 1579 type of thing on some of the leaks.
Hey, so Koopy is asking about top speed, and to my knowledge, you guys may know difference. To my knowledge, the only thing I've seen is the ascent and descent speed.
I haven't seen a top speed.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything for top speed, so I don't know.
Yeah. And see, again, this is where when we don't get the whole specs, we can only guess at things like this. Okay, we don't know because we haven't seen the actual 100%. Official specifications.
And Bill, they may be out there. Igor released a whole bunch of what was supposedly with the DJI official specs, but they were all in Chinese. And some guy was interpreting them, but I didn't read all the interpretations. So if you want to go to Igor, I don't know Igor's last name on Twitter. If you study through all the stuff he put out today, it may be in there if you're really interested.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Ron. With things like that, he's been real accurate. And one of the things, and while we're on the topic of like leakers, okay, this one's been a multi-effort because there's been a lot from Igor, and there's been some from Jasper Ellens. Really haven't seen a lot from Deal's Drone on this, and really haven't seen almost nothing from Acetalab.
Acetalab, yeah. What happened?
He's let out a few things, but you're right. He's been a lot more quieter than usual.
Hey, I got a question for you too. So, we were talking about that 1-inch sensor, and a lot of people are hanging their hats on that.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the Air 2 will shoot in, is it 5.3 or 5.4K? I get it confused.
Yeah, I get confused too.
5.4K video.
Okay.
And obviously, this is not going to have that. It's going to be 4K
because the smaller sensor is not capable.
It's the top resolution.
Yeah.
How important is that 5.4K to you guys, and moreover, how important do you think it is to DJI's customer base?
I'll go first. I use the times because, of course, this doesn't have an optical zoom on it, so I'll shoot 5.4K with the assumption I can crop down and post if I need to get tighter in the shots. I do use it occasionally. Not a must-have feature. It won't stop me from that. Won't be the reason I would not get this drone because it lacks that 5.4K video. But it is nice to have, But it's not a must-have feature.
Yeah, and I agree with Ron. That's not something I need. That's not something part of my workflow when I'm going out and shooting for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not that important.
Especially when they offer an optical zoom here. So I wouldn't have to rely on that as much to crop in since I am getting optical 3x zoom.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, here's a question. All right, and this is part of the release. Do you think this is something that DJI has in stock already at the distribution centers, and that when orders are placed next Tuesday, that they will go out?
The rumor, Bill, is it was in production in May. So if those rumors are true, it should be in well in stock and be able to ship out. But there were rumors of firmware issues with this as far as IMU and stuff. So the only thing that can hold it back maybe for a week or two is they're still tweaking that firmware. And again, that's all rumor mill stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, one of the other things too that I wanted to ask, as far as brick and mortar is concerned, especially places like Best Buy, they've been, and I'll use Best Buy, Adorama, B&H. Generally it's after the mothership, DJI gets them out maybe a week or so. I don't know an exact time frame, but there's been some lag and there's been some delay, and I think probably, and I think we talked about it last time, is that when Best Buy, has been a little too leaky in terms of some of this information getting out. And, my interaction with the store manager when I try to get, I think it was the Mini 2, and I was there on a Sunday and it was coming out on a Monday. And he's like, I can't sell this to you. He said, if I do, we'll be in bad with the manufacturer. So I'm thinking what's happened is DJI has kind of pulled back with some of these brick and mortar stores because of some of these leaks, and they don't want these leaks to come out at that point in time. I mean, that's just my thought.
That's a good point, Bill. But of course, this time around, we haven't seen like Best Buy, but a European reseller leaked a lot of the good images out back in June, and the same store leaked out the 25th as the date, back in early June too. So it may not be Best Buy, but Bill, you just can't, you just can't close all the leaks down unless you don't send anybody any marketing information ahead of time or whatever. It's going to get out some point or another.
Hey, Ron, John Olson has a question for you.
Oh, John.
Yeah, he wants to know if you're still going to fly your Air 2S.
Oh yes, John. This is the summer of the Air 2S. I've been flying all summer. It's still my kind of go-to drone now. And regardless of what I do about the the Air 3, you won't find my Air 2S on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or whatever. The only place you'll find my Air 2S is in my camera bag.
There you go.
That's pretty bold statement, huh?
That's yes.
And guys, how am I going to determine whether the video is better on the Air 2S on the 1-inch 5.4K sensor or on the Air 3 with its 1/1/3 sensor without doing the head-to-head test? Same exact conditions, same flight path. Just put it up there. Let the people watching the video be the judge of which one they think look better. No editing, no Dr. Auto settings.
Come to Idaho, Ron, and I'll throw the Air 3 out over the canyon, and we'll fly them side by side down the canyon.
Yeah. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
We'll put all the travel and expense account.
I see Koopy's got a question for Ron.
Mark is keeping his. Speaking of 3 drones, Ron had the incredible Bugs 3 story he could share briefly. I let Bill I let my original MGX Bugs 3 go just end of last week or whatever. I've been trying to sell it on and off for about a year, and I finally, I used to get a lot of tire kicks, but I finally sold it to what turned out to be like a kid, like maybe a 14-year-old kid that was a really interested drone. He asked me, all sorts of questions before we finally bought it, and I wanted to see how it flew at the field. But I was hoping to find a good home for it, and the kid was really excited for it. He's already had a little crash, but I've already gave him a whole bunch of spare props, and I already told him how to change the props off and whatever. And he mailed back, it's flying good now, and I can really fly this drone well. So it's kind of a good uploading this old tech to somebody that really appreciated. So it was kind of one of my real selling off old tech that I used to love, and somebody else gets some joy out of it also.
That's great to hear that it's going to someone who's going to use this and really enjoy it. That's a good story.
And here's the other thing: he sold it for like $20. So I mean, it's not like it was a big,
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, and tied in with all of this, okay? DJI's completely revamped their Care Refresh program. Okay.
Yes.
And what are your guys' thoughts on that? I mean, it looks to be better.
It's great, and if you've already got it, they're upgrading you to the new plan.
But I always say on any of these insurance type of things, you never really know how good something is until you have to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
It looks and sounds good on paper.
So to me, guys, and you tell me, I looked it over, and it's really hard to kind of interpret what's different and what isn't. But it looks to me like you get more replacements if you need.
Yes.
Hopefully you don't.
Yeah, and from the second replacement on, the replacements are cheaper than they used to be.
They're cheaper, but you're extending the factory warranty beyond that 1 year or whatever it is.
Yeah.
To the life of whatever the package you buy, plus the ability to buy a third year.
And Marcus, I talked about this. I think the advantage of that is really for the Avata owners, the FPV drone owners, who kind of need those extra replacements because they tend to use it more. Marcus.
Hey, well, I just wanted to point out to Bill, I think Mike Wright is making a good point there about all of their drones. A TX Arch drone guy. What do you guys think? I think that's an important point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why that's important is the SDK kits allowed for third-party apps like Litchi and Maven to add things like waypoints and stuff that weren't supplied by DJI in the past. And the last SDK kit that they released this spring only will work on Android devices, and that's kind of tough since I'm going to say at least 50% of DJI drone flyers use iPhones before they switched over to smart controller type things. So I think they're getting away from the SDK kit on the consumer drones. I totally agree. Hey, Bill, you talked about maybe the Air 3 being the perfect drone. Of all the lines of DJI consumer drones, when we had the mini line of drones, we had the Air series of drones, we had the Mavic series of drones, and now we even have the FPV series of drones from DJI. Of all those series, what if you were a new the drones and you can only afford to have one drone, which one of those series of drones would you say would be the sweet spot as far as price versus performance? Which one do you recommend? Somebody that doesn't want to they don't really necessarily, they're not on a budget where they can only afford like a $300-$400 drone, but they can't afford to come in and own all the series of drones. They have to just pick one. Which of these series of drones would you recommend most for that type of person, the one drone owner?
That's an easy question for me. I would say the Air series without a doubt, because it really fits the sweet spot as far as price is concerned and as far as features. Okay. And I'll look at the Air 2S because that's what we have right now.
Yes.
In hand. And, the capabilities of that drone and the video that I have shot with that drone were phenomenal. The runtime was great. There was, obstacle avoidance was well. It worked, and it worked very well. And it was one of those things, and it didn't break the bank. Okay. You weren't spending $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 for it. Okay. And if the prices hold to be true with what we're seeing with the Air 3, having, the new controller with a FlyMore kit for $1,500 for the Air 3, that would be a steal, especially if those camera specs really bear up to what we think they're going to be, and be able to do all the vertical shooting and everything else with that. You're going to have a real winner, and that's going to be, that's a really good price point that DJI is coming in at.
And another point, Bill, if the battery life, the 46-minute runtime is true, kind of like the Mavic 3 series, you wouldn't necessarily have to get the FlyMore kit if you weren't like, say, using the drone to make money. You could just buy the drone, just a single package, add one more battery. If you only had two batteries and they got 46 minutes, you really could get by with just two batteries.
And that's what I did with the Mavic 3. I only had two batteries. And I'll tell you what, guys, every time I went out there, I filmed 3 videos on 1 battery. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Mavic 3. I mean, it's just and I foresee the same thing here. Only reason I would, and my thoughts are, I'm going to be getting probably a Flymore kit, is because I want that concurrent charger. I want to see how that works and how that performs, because somebody's saying, well, it's probably going to take twice as long or 3 times as long or 4 times as long to charge. I just want to see. I want to experience it. And I think one of you guys said it here already tonight, okay? And then maybe Marcus or Ron may have said it. DJI is not going to take a step backwards when they put out something like this. And this isn't going to be like some of those items that you purchase out on Amazon and they're unbranded and you really don't know the performance out of this, okay? DJI is not going to put their name on something like this without having tested it first and tested it well. That's what I have to say on that.
So to Ron's question earlier, before the Mavic 3, I always said the Air 2S was the best drone that I had ever owned, right? Absolutely best performing, best drone. I had the Mavic 2 Zoom, etc. I liked the Air 2S better. The Mavic 3 Pro, quite frankly, has capabilities that are way beyond my ability as a videographer or photographer. That a drone like this Air 3, as you guys both so eloquently said, it may very well be the sweet spot. And the reason I'm going to add to that is it has so many features. All of those features that what you guys, I don't think you touched on, was that they upgraded the active track, and they upgraded APAS. That focus track suite of features is huge that you don't get on any other brand.
Nobody has anything that compares with it, Marcus.
There's nothing that compares to it. Mm-hmm. And for a pilot like me, it's huge. When I go down there into the Snake River Canyon and I'm chasing a jet boat, I don't have to worry about where that camera's pointing. I just have to fly the drone because of that spotlight and focus track feature.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's all good stuff. And this, because of all the feature set, everything you guys have already talked about, it might be my new favorite drone. I don't know.
Oh, don't tell the Mavic 3 Pro. Don't tell the Mavic 3 Pro it's not the best thing you've ever in.
But Ron, I might fly it more, right? And why would that be? Because of the size. It's lighter, smaller. And of course, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know that. But I'm assuming that it's the same size as the current Air series. And if it is,
it seems like it may be. I don't know by the weight, but it seems like it may be a little bit bigger footprint. But we don't. I'm going off just leaked, rumored specs on the internet.
And you know me, Ron, I have the need for speed. That, like I've already talked about, that ascent and descent speed. So,
well, you can take your Mavic 3 into the speed shop and maybe get it to.
Koopy had mod it for me. We've already talked about
it. Well, Marcus brought up a really good point with the Mavic 3 Pro, that there are a lot of features on that drone, especially as far as the camera is concerned, that I think, well, I know Ron maybe is the Jedi master of cameras, could probably tweak it, but I think for like Marcus, myself, a lot of people, it's like over our head. Okay, it's like I need a PhD. It would be like equivalent to, and I gotta say this, I hit a milestone birthday on Sunday, 65, and one of the things that I had to do this weekend was apply for Medicare. And I looked at my wife after we were done taking a look and going through everything, and I said, "Dear, I think we both have earned PhDs now, trying to figure this stuff out." Okay.
Yeah, that's why you go into one of those advisors and.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, but no, with that being said, okay, this is really kind of a no-brainer. All right, it really is. Okay, because you don't want to have to go out and spend $2,500, $3,000 on a Mavic 3 Pro, when you can get incredible features for the value for the dollar. And that's something I've said since day one on this channel with DJI. The value for the dollar that you get, okay, you're getting a lot of value for all the money that you spend for a DJI drone. That's one of the things that I will always go out and say with certain 100% certainty on that. You will get a drone that is going to perform well, almost literally out of the box without a firmware update. And that's what I'm hoping for this. I'm hoping we can get it up and going.
Hey, Bill, I got a crazy scenario for you. Say, you considered getting the Mavic 3 Pro when it came out in the spring, and you already owned the Mavic 3. So you sold your old Mavic 3 off, and people I'm just giving you a ballpark. We're getting $1,200 for selling their old one off. Well, they had to pay, like $1,000 to get the $2,200 to get the Mavic 3 Pro.
Who are you talking about, Ron?
I'm giving you average price. Yeah.
Oh.
So it would cost you about $1,000 upgrade, right, Bill? Well, now, and all you were really getting was that extra camera, right? You were getting that 3x camera. That was basically the only major change. But okay, now instead of spending that doing an upgrade with that, now you can for just a little over $1,000, you can go and buy a whole new drone that has that camera, rather than just upgrading from another drone. Say you don't get the flybar, you say you just get the regular bundles, $1,100. So you have two drones now instead of what it would cost you to upgrade from your Mavic 3.
That, Ron, you nailed it.
They get that new camera lens.
You really nailed it right there, because that's I sold my Mavic 3 in anticipation of getting a Pro. Okay. There's Marcus with his Pro right there. All right. And it ended up, circumstances, I sent mine back because, obviously this happened, but I think it was for good, because that money that I have from the Mavic 3 Pro or from selling the Mavic 3, I can be able to easily use that in being able to get the Air 3 and getting probably something that's going to be have some great capabilities. I'm really excited about that.
Who are you talking about in that scenario, Ron? Who did you have in mind there?
Well, you and again everybody else at the upgrade. You were getting somewhere between 1,000 and say 1,300 for your used Mavic 3s, and so you still had to throw a lot in to do the upgrade. Where that money saved because it's bought this drone.
See, Ron, listen, you're absolutely right, and let me tell you why it was worth it to me. And your point is absolutely 100% spot on. A lot of people, I just think what didn't make sense.
It's easy to be spot on when you're armchair quarterback and stuff.
Well, but the reason it was worth it to me is because I'm a big enthusiast of these drones, and I wanted to experience it, and that's why.
I just take it from the other end, where a lot of people, where they consider these drone upgrades, it's all about working out the price points and so on.
Well, one of the things I was going to ask you, Ron, is I know you conducted a poll as far as the Air 3. What were the results of that poll?
Surprising results. Of almost 50 people polled, until Marcus voted late, only 2 people were gonna get the Air 3, and the biggest answer was people were just going to stay with their Air 2S, and some people were on the fence. That was a big percent too. They were going to wait and see all the final specs, but I was shocked how little interest there was among the core, Drone Nation members. It's the same people follow all our channels.
Well, tell them who those 3 are, Ron. It was DeMarco, me, and Johnny.
Well, I got some news. I clicked yes on that one too.
So 4.
So I was on it. So.
But it was only 2 as of about noon yesterday afternoon. So the numbers doubled.
It doesn't surprise me. Okay, well, number one,
I'm going to say, Bill, this is sort of the Mini 2 SC again, all over again. The drone nobody wants.
Yeah. Well, I look at it. While our breadth and our reach, okay, we're only tapping a small part of dronedom.
The diehards.
The diehards, okay. There's going to be a lot of people out there that are I don't think DJI has anything to worry about. I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to sell well. But I think a lot of people here, like with the Mavic 3 Pro, are probably going to take a step back, and they're going to want to see the Billy Kyles in the videos that come out after, or like Dobo. And they'll want to watch these videos before they make a decision on buying something like this.
And Bill, some of this is our fault. We've been sitting here for the last couple of years bragging about how good a one sensor drone is. All of us are guilty on bragging at one sensor, and now we turn right around and tell them that they don't need the one sensor. So you see, I mean, some of it's, you know, when I say our fault or anybody in the drone media's fault, we preached one sensor for years, and now we're walking that back a little bit.
Well, you know, I think, you know, the proof is in the video and the camera, and you know, and we'll see that, you know, come Tuesday, you know, at 9 a.m. You know, there'll be some videos that'll come out, and we'll be able to take a look at that.
And you can't tell the difference between the Air 2S and the video from this Air 3. There's your answer. If you can't see the difference.
Yeah. You know, so, you know, those of you who have been, you know, the 1-inch sensor, you know, my answer is this: go out and take a look at that video that you'll see come Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. There'll be a number of videos out there. Watch that video closely and compare it to some video, which I'm sure, I know, if, you know, and the reason I say Billy is this, because he's so meticulous with his videos, and you know, he keeps every drone he buys. He does not sell his drones.
He is the collector.
So he would compare that, as Ron so eloquently pointed out, with an Air 2S, okay, side by side. He's going to do that. You know,
lots of times Billy will upload some raw footage to his Dropbox, so you can download the raw footage of your own computer and look at it.
Yeah. I know. He's told me that, and he's done that, and that's a great thing. Okay, and you know, that's going to be the proof of the pudding when you see something like that. You see that equivalent. You know, and people say, "Well, it wasn't the exact same time." It doesn't matter. Okay, it's the same day. You know, the lighting conditions are probably going to be about the same. Wind speed, you know, you'll get some. Like, you know what? No, I said, you know, Billy knows what he's doing. He's a professional at it. Take a look at the video before you make any kind of a decision.
Yeah, one more little bit of controversy to bring out, Bill.
Okay.
So I hear a lot of people say that, oh, you know, why buy the Air 3 because the Air 3S will be 6 months behind it. Who says there's even going to be an Air 3S? You know, what if there's an Air 3 Classic that doesn't have the 3x telephoto on it or something? I mean, the point of it is, maybe they'll have an upgrade, or maybe the next one in the Air series will be the Air 4. I mean, the thing is, we just don't know.
You don't know.
My point is this: you cannot go by past practice.
Exactly.
What they're going to do in the future.
Exactly.
But you're exactly right, Marcus. That's the nature of the game. People feel burned by they bought the Air 2. They didn't buy it when it came out. They bought the Air 2, you know, 6 months after it came out, and then they were upgraded almost instantaneously. Just like people don't forget the Fimi. We talked about the Fimi X8 2022. The Crooked Horizon is now fixed, but people that were burned by buying previous ones with the Crooked Horizon never got fixed, they still hold that against Fimi.
So Richard is making a good point that with the smaller sensor size, it has a much bigger aperture. And when is a big wide aperture a problem? It's because you have a narrow depth of field. Well, with this drone, you're focusing out to infinity, so it's not nearly as important, right? And it's going to let
I mean, the only point with that 1.7 aperture all the time, it lets in too much light during the bright daylight hours. And you know, I know people don't hate to hear you preach about ND filters, but I see anybody who flies with that drone during the daylight, they're overexposed because they cannot use a variable aperture to shut it down. So that's why your ND64 filter should live on that drone if you fly during the day.
I'm going to push back on you. a little bit, Ron. So one of the things that I'm kind of reading between the lines in some of the specs that we've seen. So I don't know if this is true, but one of the things they're talking about is how much they've improved their HDR and smart photo. So could it be that they knew that, right? They're smart on camera. They knew that too.
Right.
Or could they, computational photography that we've talked about a lot, could they have set up an algorithm to adjust for that.
Balance that. And I think, Marcus, am I correct on this? The HDR video was limited at 4K 30 on the Mini 3 Pro, but I think it goes to 4K 60 on this drone. So that's kind of an innovation. Yeah.
That's huge.
But it still has to be improved, though, because if you go 4K 30, with HDR video on the Mini 3 Pro, and you don't stop it down with a filter, it's overexposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be overexposed. Well, you know, Marcus has said probably, you know, it's something I kind of alluded to earlier. Okay, we're being promised the Air 3, period. Okay, there may never be an Air 3S ever. DJI may go directly to an Air 4, or for what we know, they'll put out an Air 3 SE. Okay,
or an Air 3 Pro.
Or an Air 3 Pro. Okay,
guys,
no clue.
Guys, I'm going to save this video, and a year from now, you guys may be eating crow when I run it back when the Air 3S is out there with a 1-inch sensor.
That's absolutely fine.
We do know that on Tuesday, the 25th, they're going to be coming out with the Air 3. Okay, it's a given. It's a done deal.
Double up.
It's hit the FCC database. All right.
But you know, they never mentioned the word Air 3 in any of that advertising, Bill.
No, they never do. Okay, Ron knows, Marcus knows, and I know. You know, it's one of these things. It's exciting. You know, to whether or not you're getting this. Okay, it's a great thing to talk about. We have a great hobby. I think we have one of the greatest hobbies in the world. Okay, it is a lot of fun. I know Ron and Marcus and myself. Of course, I'm going to be getting there. With my physical therapy, I'll get back to flying, and I can hardly wait. I'm itchy to get back to flying. You know, it's something, it's so good, it's therapeutic. Okay, you know, Bill Thomas is right. It's drone therapy. It really is therapeutic for a lot of people, going out there and enjoying this wonderful hobby of ours. Guys, any closing thoughts for tonight?
Yeah, who the heck is Koopy talking about in it with his comment there? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, who could that be? Who could that be? My final thought and comment is our good friend Richard, SSB72Q, said, in his humble opinion, the Air 3S will have a 1-inch sensor and a variable aperture. So, Richard, I'm with you, brother. I may wait on the sidelines with you.
Well, you know, I'll go back to what, you know, back in 2017, Dobo, you know, he and I were talking once, and he said, you know what? Fly the drone that you got, you know, and that's always one of the best answers, you know, and it's exciting to talk about it. And, you know, my big thing is my final thought for the evening is this: don't judge a book by its cover. In other words, judge it by, and especially in this case, by the output, okay, by the video, by what you see from this, before you make any comments about anything mechanical on this drone. Just, you know, do yourself a favor, because I think you're going to all be pleasantly surprised with this. Guys, I want to thank everybody for stopping by tonight. It's a reminder, next Tuesday we're going to be on twice. We're going to be on at noon next Tuesday to have a recap of everything, and we're going to go over it here in detail. We're going to go through pricing. We're going to go through specs. Hopefully we'll watch some videos, and we'll have had time to digest this information and be able to report back to you guys what we think is good about this, what we think is not so good, what could be tweaked, etc. So stay tuned.
And one more show announcement, Bill, on July 31st, Drone Nation, Bill the Drone Reviewer, we got a special guest. We will have 6 days to mull over all these information. Who knows? That drone may be shipping. One of us may have it by the 31st.
It may have it in hand.
Later, we will look at the information over one more final time and give you our buying advice.
So Ron, is Drone Nation going live for the event?
We will be live at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 25th.
So make sure you join. I'll probably join these guys for that.
Yeah, come on, Bill.
Yeah, we'll send a link.
We'll be on as well, and then at 8 o'clock that night. So you're going to see us. You're going to get sick of us.
Oh man, yeah. We'll be on more than those news anchors when some big event happens.
Hey, this is a big event, although we might be silent for a few minutes.
Yeah, it may not be such a big event if all that day is, if that's not the day, if all they do is announce a drone that day and it doesn't go on sale.
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why, Ron. Because they wouldn't have teased us with this thing that they announced
a week ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know that's gonna happen. And
so the Marcus Crawford buy button will be on the desk that day, right?
The only thing you're going to be hearing during
the fastest finger in the West.
The clicks of the mouse. Okay, you'll hear that. There'll be silence for maybe about 10 seconds, and all you hear will be click, 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 click.
A lot of on-air people are going to be silent for a few minutes while they get their orders in.
That's right. That's right. Well, everybody, make sure next week, next Tuesday, Ron and Marcus and everybody, and I'll join them at 9:00. For all the festivities at noon. We'll have a thorough recap. We'll be on at 8:00 that night. And then the next Monday, I will be on Drone Nation with these two wonderful gentlemen here, and we're going to have a blast.
And maybe we'll have an Air 3 on set.
And with an Air 3 on set, hopefully. Guys, thanks so much. As always, remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Good night, folks.
Good night.